Ladies and gentlemen, we got one of these for you. It is spicy story time. And the title of this one is, Am I the Astronaut for basically telling my in-laws this is my house? If you don't like my rules, get out. First off, I don't think I was wrong, which has infuriated my girlfriend. I, 25, recently moved into my house, my girlfriend, 27, and I had a little housewarming. Her family, my mother, and a few of our friends. We were eating outdoors and the kids had their own table. My girlfriend's nephew ate and knocked over a jug of flavored water. I was at the table when it happened and it was clearly an accident. He was very polite and apologized. He was a little upset, but I just laughed it off. His father came over and I was shocked at how much his father gave out to him. I told him it really was only an accident, etc., and he kept going. I felt really guilty for not stopping it. He ran over to the corner of the garden and started crying. His father went back to the table and said what happened to his wife. And his wife said that he deserved it. He should stay there a long time or something along those lines. There was almost a snicker from some of her family. Anyway, I went over to the boy a couple of minutes later. I gave him a bar of chocolate. He was still crying. He said sorry again. I gave him a high five and taught him this high five I used to do as a kid. His mother came over and said, do you mind not talking to my son? He needs to think about what he did wrong and he needs to do that alone. I took her and her husband aside and said, this is my house. If you want to upset your kid, don't do it here. If you don't like that, get out. I swear the reaction that followed was insane. They went back to the table saying it. My mom said, never holding back, didn't I raise a great son? He's spot on not to let bullies in this house, which erupted it even more. My girlfriend spoke to me in private and asked me to apologize to them. I said no. I stood by what I said, and this part I regret a little bit. I told her I think less of her for even asking me to apologize. A mate of mine and his son kicked ball with the boy and I. He actually gave me a hug. I don't do hugs at the end of the party and said sorry again. He hugged so tightly for a couple of seconds. I really could go on about the drama, but in short, her family thought I was wrong. I was getting little digs, etc. My girlfriend's friend came up privately and said I was right to step in. My girlfriend is still pushing for me to apologize. I still don't think I did anything wrong. I didn't tell them how to parent, but told them to leave if that's how they want to parent. If I'm being completely honest, I didn't say this. I'm not sure I'd want a kid with a family like that. Aggro over spilled effing flavored water. Wow, there's so many messages. Apologies, but I can't respond to all. Some of the common answers to responses. Agreed. What must they be like in private? My mother is the best mother any kind of kid could have. Yeah, it puts a big hole in my future with my girlfriend. Oof. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, luckily, we've got some tater thoughts to offer here. Red lights are already on. Let's go ahead and pop right up. This kind of walks the line of like interfering with parenting, does it not?
Yes, he interfered, but for sake, the kid spilled some water
it's
on
an
the
accident.
table. Yeah, it was clearly an accident. It's OP's home. Like, he has no problem with it. I would not go this hard at my child for spilling something, like spilling water. This is a way overreaction. And I don't know if they were trying to prove a point because they were in someone else's home and like, but putting your kid in timeout for accidentally knocking over water. I mean, if he took the water and like dumped it out on the table and was being a little shit, like I understand, like that's behavioral issues and you've got stuff going on there, but this was a accident. I feel like the parents went over I know that's not what we're judging here, but in my opinion, I don't disagree with OP.
Here's my concern though. OP, good for you. You feel better about the vibe that you were able to create in this moment of hope that you were able to give this kid who is obviously, if this is a normal thing, being treated like this a lot and being bullied by parents, being abused potentially. I think in this instance, aggravating the parents overall probably just made things worse for that kid.
I understand what you're saying, and it probably did. And that sucks. And I know that OP cannot fix that. Yep. But I mean, I don't even know. Like, I do not parent like this. I'm not gonna, like, obviously if your kid makes a mess, it's not like the greatest thing in the world, but it's water. Like, shit's gonna happen. Accidents are gonna happen. I spill shit all the time.
Doesn't matter if it was grape juice. Like, it's a freaking accident. They're gonna happen.
Right. I feel genuinely very bad. This kid is 8 years old, and like I don't know. It just makes my heart hurt for this kid to feel like he can't even make a mistake without being berated like that and put in timeout. And like the way that he just automatically apologized and was crying. Like, I don't know. I just feel really bad for the kid.
The kid feels alone when people don't speak up and just stay quiet and let this kind of shit happen. Being glad that I'm glad that, he had a moment, right? I'm glad he had a moment of hope and he had a moment of happiness and somebody saw and stood up for him.
Yes.
I think my problem with OP here is that it was a momentary thing for him.
Yeah, but that kid saw that now.
Yeah.
Like, he knows that there's someone out there that will stand up for him, and maybe in the future, knowing that there's adults out there like that are willing to stand up and be like, hey, your parents aren't always right. What your parents doing is not, what they're doing is not okay. Maybe he'll find comfort in a different adult at school. I mean, that's my hope, obviously. I don't know what's going to happen, but you know what? And maybe this would make me second guess my relationship, because if I'm with somebody that's okay with this kind of parenting, I mean, I would need I would need to know what her parenting looks like moving forward if I want kids in my life.
Yes. That's true.
I don't know. I hope that this kid sees someone that stands up for him, and then he can apply that moving forward. He's 8. But I don't know if he's old enough to make that connection.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I agree. His feelings were validated, and seeing somebody that he now knows is safe, like all of that is great, but it's like such a momentary blip. And I hope it's a seed that does get watered over time and allows him to find a way out later on. I just immediately worry about the immediate, what's the word I'm looking for? The immediate blowback reaction that the parents are going to have. Yeah, the blowback whenever they get home. That's my fear here, is that, trying to do something that is momentary can cause a lot more pain and a lot more problems.
I know. And my hope in that scenario is that, obviously I don't think this is going to happen, but me being hopeful would be that the parents are like, shit, are we doing this too hard? Are we going too strong? Is this not, I mean, at the end of the day, and we just had this conversation, but at the end of the day, our kids are human beings. And if I would not respond well to being yelled at after making a mistake. Yeah. I would not respond well to being degraded after making a mistake. I would be the opposite of what you're trying to achieve. So
you just be rattled.
Yeah. So I'm like, in my mind, us exploding as parents is not going to solve the problem that we have in that. I understand that people reach their threshold. I understand that people overreact. But we're not perfect. We never will be. But I do believe that you should treat your child as a human being and not like a punching bag, because they are going to make mistakes. Okay,
so the parents here finally encountered like someone opposing them and disagreeing with them and calling them on their bullshit, and maybe that's a little bit of a wake-up call there too. That's what you're saying.
I'm hoping they self-reflect, but I don't know that they...
Well, it's possible. It is possible. Am I the astronaut for basically telling my in-laws this is my house? If you don't like my rules, get out? NTA. Are we in agreement on that, Tater Rooney? NTA. The parents suck. You just have to understand that mistakes are going to happen, and like we all make mistakes.